This video is sponsored by Blue Apron. I did a video a while back on life extension and some of the best practices for living a longer, healthier life. Healthier being the code word here. No point living to 120 years old if you just look like some kind of dried up husk of something that was once a human being. And one of those ideas was calorie restriction, the idea that if you restrict your caloric intake, then your metabolism will actually slow down and you'll live much longer. Kind of like a Galapagos tortoise. Oh, so great, I can live to be 120 years old and all I have to do is just eat 1 carrot a day for the rest of my life. Or you can try fasting, going 2 or 3 days, maybe even a week without eating. That sounds fun. Luckily, there's a way of getting the benefits of fasting without actually becoming a monk. It's called intermittent fasting, and it kind of combines the best of both worlds. It's a big deal, and people everywhere are giving it a go, including yours truly. Intermittent fasting at its core is a really simple idea. Instead of eating 3 meals a day or multiple meals throughout the day, like some nutritional plans ask you to do, you only eat during one specified window, which means that in the other hours of the day you're fasting. A common method is to fast for 16 hours of the day and eat for 8 hours of the day, although you can also do 18-6. Now, if right now you're thinking, oh my god, 16 hours without eating, that sounds awful, well just keep in mind that you're sleeping through 7 or 8 hours of that. Or if you run a YouTube channel, 4 or 5 hours. So if you're doing a 16 to 8 protocol, you would basically stop eating at 8 in the evening, wake up in the morning, skip breakfast, and then have your first meal at noon. But breakfast is the most important meal of the day, Joe. I've heard that my whole life. Yes, you have. General Mills did their job. And while I'm on the topic of marketing, milk, turns out, not as much calcium as you think. Broccoli and spinach actually have more calcium than milk does, but the National Dairy Board's been pounding that message for 30 years to the point that the connection in everybody's minds between milk and calcium is so strong that most people think that calcium is white, but it's not. Calcium is a metal. I found this out when I had a kidney stone, and I knew that kidney stones were calcium deposits, so I thought that it would be, white, but then when the doctor showed it to me, it was dark, and that kind of surprised me. I actually flipped it off when the doctor showed it to me. I could blame the drugs, but I meant it. I really meant it. The only thing that's really special about breakfast is that it breaks your fast, which is why they call it breakfast. I don't know why we pronounce it differently. We should start calling it fast break a fest break. So in a way, you're already fasting. All this does is extend the period of the fast a little bit longer, which means that you might be a little bit hungry in the morning. But here's the good news. You can eat whatever you want. No more counting carbs, no more weighing food, no more obsessing over every bite you put in your mouth. Studies on IF have shown that no matter what kind of diet you eat, whether it's high carb, low carb, high fat, they all get about the same results. And the results are what it's all about. And I'll talk about that in just a second, but while we're still talking about food, I want to tell you about Blue Apron. Blue Apron, if you don't know, is a meal kit service that delivers a variety of recipes with farm fresh ingredients right to your door in exactly the proportions you need, no running to the store or anything. The directions are easy to follow and the food is just stupid good. Listen, when it comes to cooking Gordon Ramsay, I'm not. Well, I do curse like him. But seriously, every meal I've ever made with Blue Apron has surprised me. Like, I did not think I was capable of cooking something like that. I'm talking restaurant quality food, and not the kind of restaurant where you fill up your plate at a trough. I'm talking about the kind where you sit and someone takes your order and they're wearing a suit and you can't pronounce anything on the menu. And it starts at $8.99 per serving, so it's actually cheaper than going to a restaurant, even the kind where you get your food from a trough. And if you're married or living with a significant other, you really should try it out. Cooking Blue Apron has become like one of the highlights of our week. My wife is a teacher, she's busy. I do this channel 24/7 and we don't get a whole lot of quality time together, but with Blue Apron, we pour a little wine, put on a little music and go on a little culinary journey, It's actually kind of helped bring us closer together. It's so beautiful. If you do want to give it a try, Blue Apron has a special offer for viewers of this channel. The first 50 people that sign up will get $50 off their first 2 weeks of Blue Apron. That's actually cheaper than eating fast food. And yeah, Blue Apron's sponsoring this video, but seriously, I'm not saying anything I haven't already said to friends long before they ever reached out to me. In fact, they gave me talking points. Not even using them. Don't tell me how to praise you. Anyway, yeah, Blue Apron's the bomb. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. Links in the description. All right, back to intermittent fasting, and the big question, why do this? Why starve yourself a little every day? Well, the idea is that when you digest your food, your body pulls glucose from that food, and then your cells turn that into ATP, which is what powers the cells. Well, after about 12 hours or so, your body runs out of glucose that it can pull out of that food. It kind of has its way with it, so it has to turn to another source of energy, your fat cells. This is a process called ketosis. And obviously this has benefits in terms of fat loss, but it also has hormonal benefits like lowering insulin and raising human growth hormone fivefold. Which is why it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that Terry Crews is actually a big proponent of intermittent fasting. He probably lifts weights too. There's also an increase in cellular repair when you're in a fasting state. Digestion actually takes up a lot of energy, so when you're not digesting, your body puts that energy into cellular repair, like removing waste from the cells. This has anti-aging benefits, it reduces oxidative stress and lowers inflammation, and even has anti-cancer properties. There's also a brain component to fasting. Your body actually produces more nerve cells, and it also produces more of a hormone called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps with depression. But on that same note, some studies have shown that fasting can actually reduce the chances of Alzheimer's and can even help repair a brain after a stroke. But the big one is life extension. Now, it's hard to do a full legit human life extension study that would take like 100 years, but in tests with rats that fasted every other day, they showed a lifespan increase of 83%. So yeah, there's a lot of mounting evidence that taking regular breaks from eating is actually really good for your body. And it makes sense when you think about it. Our distant ancestors didn't have supermarkets, they didn't have constant access to food all the time. They had to go long periods of time without eating, so their bodies evolved to adapt to that. So there's several different ways to fast. Some people will fast every other day. Some people fast 2 or 3 days out of the month, and these have shown to be a little bit more successful, especially in cancer prevention studies. But there's also plenty of evidence that just putting yourself into a fasting state for 4 to 6 hours every day adds up over time. There's a cumulative effect there. And so that's why the 16 and 8 and 18 and 6 protocols are really popular, which is actually what I'm doing. So yeah, I started doing intermittent fasting about 3 months ago, and basically what I do is I wake up in the morning, I skip breakfast, I eat a late lunch around 2, and then I stop eating at 8 o'clock in the evening. And this was difficult at first, I'm not gonna lie, but the hunger gets better over time because your body produces less of a hormone called ghrelin, which actually makes you feel hungry, and also your stomach shrinks. And honestly, my mindset shifted when it came to hunger. You know, it stopped being a pain to me, and it became more of a signal that my body was now pulling energy from my fat cells, which is the idea. That's what I wanted to do. And also the hunger passes. You know, a lot of people think that it's gonna get linearly worse and worse and worse over time unless they eat something, but that's not really how it goes. It actually, kind of comes and goes in waves. You'll feel it and then it'll go away. You know, if you drink a little extra water, get busy, distract yourself, you're back to normal pretty soon. And one of the great things about intermittent fasting for me anyway is it's given me so much more time in my day. Like, you just don't realize how much time you spend thinking about eating and planning around sitting down and stuffing dead things in your face. I've been a lot more productive. It's one less thing to think about every day. Decision fatigue is really a thing. Now, there are a few downsides to keep in mind if you want to try this. One of them is that this is a huge adjustment that your body has to make, so expect to get some headaches. And that's something I think that keeps a lot of people from doing this. You know, they hit that adjustment period and it's uncomfortable and they think that it's always going to be like that, but it doesn't. It goes away. It gets better. Another downside is I'm a lot foggier after I eat now. I've heard people say that intermittent fasting makes you feel sharper, makes you think a little bit faster, and I don't know about that so much. I mean, maybe, but I definitely feel different after I eat now. Like, I notice that if I record one of these videos after I eat, it's almost impossible. Like, I cannot get the lines out. I have to repeat them like 5 times. It's just, it's terrible. I don't do it anymore. And I think this has to do with an increased insulin sensitivity, which is not a bad thing, but it definitely takes a lot more out of me when I digest now. I've also heard that processing ketones can actually increase the likelihood of kidney stones. So you definitely want to drink extra water when you're doing this. And for me personally, the worst thing about intermittent fasting and not having breakfast is I love me some breakfast food. Like, that's the only reason I have for getting out of bed in the morning. I mean, really, why else would you even get out of bed? Granted, I still eat breakfast food. I just eat it in the middle of the afternoon at a cafe down the street, usually while working on videos. But overall, I've become a fan of this, and it's definitely something that I can recommend if anybody wants to try it. Now, obviously, you want to educate yourself about this as much as you can before you get started. There's a ton of info out there about it, and it's something that you might want to just ease yourself into because there is an adjustment period. Just expect that. But overall, I think it's a great lifestyle, and I recommend it to everybody. And I also feel like there's a little bit of a life lesson here. You know, that whole adjustment period I was talking about earlier. Everybody is so afraid of discomfort. Nobody wants to feel uncomfortable about anything, but listen, discomfort is good. Adjustment periods are good. When you get through that, you get to a better place, whether it's, starting a new diet plan, whether it's exercising, whether it's just trying to start a new habit or just a mindset shift. We need to be uncomfortable every once in a while, so embrace the discomfort. Go toward it. Grow a little. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you found it at least a little bit helpful. Maybe it cleared the air. You might have heard a little bit about intermittent fasting here and there. T-shirts available in the store. This one, many others. Here's another one you might like. People seem to like them quite a bit. You can go to answerswithjoe.com/shirts. There's dozens of them on there. Pick one you like, wear it with pride. I want to thank Blue Apron for sponsoring this video, and I want to thank the Answer Files on Patreon for sponsoring my life. You guys have given me so much, and I've really enjoyed watching this community grow and getting to know all of you. There are some new members of the tribe. Let me murder their names real quick. We've got Doug Edelman, Loran Bertelin, Donald T. Kinstad, Gustav Grotius, Roman Luskashov, sorry. Hayden Bach, Thomas Jansen, Brendan Smith, Chris Modisette, Stephen Carell, Carolus Butfinskas, Luke Sherry, Milo Wadlin, Beth Fishy, Andre Philip Paquette, Tom Sweetman, Christopher, Kari Silko, Tim Getch, Mike Barksky, and Greg Lieber. Blah. Thank you guys so much. If you want to join them, you want to get some access to secret perks and everything that you don't get to see on the channel, behind the scenes stuff, fun things, you can go to patreon.com/answerswithjoe. Nailed it. Please like and share this video if you liked it, and if this is your first time here, welcome, and I invite you to check out some of my other videos. I talk about fun, sciencey things every Monday, random things on Thursday. If you like those, please do subscribe. All right, you guys go out, have an eye-opening week, and I'll catch you next Monday. Love you guys, take care.